Okay, morning. I have just woken up. I've had 5 or 6 hours sleep, which is pretty good. But it's very bloody cold in here. Oh, hey, let's look on deck. Oh no, I still don't want to take this. Oh, come on. Got to get the socks out of the companionway hatch at some point. Ah! Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Ah. And there, down the back, can you see that little lump beyond the wheel? And the bloody great big generator there. So, today's plan, look at the frost on the I'll explain what these mats are doing in here. Like, there's little hatches in the deck. You see one over here on the floor? They give light inside the boat. There's one closer up here. Well, they're all leaking, so I put these mats down on the floor in an attempt to at least, let's get that closed. Heat is at a premium in here. Let's get back in here. Okay, so it's very cold. I found this thermometer, which is a pool thermometer. Feels a bit colder than that. Now, why would I say this? Says we're at 40 Fahrenheit, 5 degrees above zero. But this kettle, he says it's below zero. So the issue I'm going to immediately get here, I will show you. This is propane, and propane is not your friend when things are cold, right? So these little stoves, we'll be looking at these a little bit more. These are a fantastic thing to have on board in case you just need to have something hot. Now look, our little flame is here. Okay, all good. But the amount of flame available is almost zero because the canister, which is inside here, is so cold. So what we're going to do, any camper knows? So you know what? This is not propane. This is butane. I beg your pardon. These cans are butane. That's the problem. Propane goes down lower. So we've got our can and we're going to warm it up over the stove. A separate can of whiz bang. What have we got to eat? There is actually a steak. Oh, I wonder if that steak will reveal how cold it is. Oh, the steak is not solid actually. So that's... maybe the kettle lies. What are you going to believe? This kettle or your lying eyes? Alright, so I'm going to warm this guy up. It don't take very much. Look at this. Look at the propane. Sorry, butane. Look how low the flame is. Yep. Really. It's just because the... it's like lost pressure inside the can. But that guy's going to turn off in a second. Okay. And then... the best thing is to throw that on the floor as hard as you can. That always shakes up the boat gremlins. Oh, and then kick it. I always kick it. All the tricks I'm going to reveal on this channel, you can tell. I'll get this guy in here. See how easy it is? I can do it. Oh, sorry. I'll get better at this. These pans on these stoves. This goes here. Hey, there you go, that's pretty easy, and there's a little lever that brings it into play. Hey, now we have fire. What is this for? Well, this helps the boat tune into the solar wind. No, this goes here, and then in a seaway, this slot flips down over the sides of it and holds it there. I gotta say, like, I'm the one that puts the positions these little arms. I feel like there's a way. Oh, I see what's going on. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's just there's no option to. There's no meat on the bottom of this. There's no meat on the bottom of this stove to put this fulcrum position anywhere different. Okay, well, we'll just have to. Okay, update on the warming up the butane situation. I just learned something, which is don't leave the butane can in the pot when you take a quick nip outside to go and grab the milk. What happens is the top blows off And then up here, can you see in the ceiling there? Yeah, now I have a new addition to the galley. So, you know, it's something that I've always been interested in on boats, is what is the safest gas system to have, because big boats I've been on, obviously you've got like gas bottles down in a locker at the back with an overboard vent and all the rest is, you know, secured down. And then I've been on boats where they've got, in fact, this boat, let's see the little hole at the back there in that back corner. When I came on this boat, it had a gas stove here and it had a gas bottle under here, which is something I saw variations of on some of the older race boats I've had, like from the early 90s. But obviously having the gas bottle inside the boat is absolutely petrifying. If you have a levee, an explosion caused by gas expanding rapidly inside a tight sealed can, will destroy the boat, right? I've tried Origo stoves. I've done 16 people for 16 days on an Origo stove at sea with pressure cookers and all the rest of it. Like, I know Origo stoves. I wouldn't have Primus. I've used Primus a lot for camping, and ended up at Outward Bound banning the use of Primus stoves in camping, because if it gets onto your wicking clothes, you become the candle, right? So you just can't do that way. So gas in the lockers, gas in here, no. And then I've used little gas stoves, which have been quite good, like little camping gas stoves. Then I got into using these, which I knew these in Hong Kong like 15 or 16 years ago. They're great little stoves. Fantastic for all sorts of situations for us, because you use them on the boat, use them camping, and we use them in the house when the power goes off, which it often does in Nova Scotia. But I started using it on the boat when that little gas stove that was so dangerous that was in here had this like gimbal thing, which looks to me a lot like the gimbals off an Origo stove, actually. In fact, I think that's exactly what it is. You know, those Origo stoves are like $500 US, and the stand is $250. So by the time you've done all this with the conversion to Canadian, it was $1,000 to have an Origo stove on the boat. And the first time we used it, the pan was slightly too big. The flame went along the underside of the pan and melted the knobs off on the first use. Had to make like brass knobs from it. Unbelievably stupid. But anyway, in this setting, brilliant, because what I did is I put this guy here. So because this can just went pop here, I read what it says on the back, and it says, caution, contents are self-pressurizing. And that's the problem with butane, is that it's not under any kind of pressure under there, which means there's less volume. But when it went pop just now, that was 2/3 full, that can, it went bang! And obviously the stove stopped at the same time, there's no more gas. Nothing ignited, nothing went bang. A very small amount of gas escaped from the can. It was like the most... Even if I'd been stood here, I think it would have been shocking. Although that was, would the flame be able to get back inside the can? No, it just overpressured. You know what? My feeling is that was it was a significant accident. In fact, that it could have been something else that went wrong in a different gas system. But I'm so relaxed with this system. It happened because I went off to go and get the milk and actually go and get another battery for the camera. So that seemed to me like that was quite safe for what that was. And if people are saying, well, it looks a bit tin pot, yeah, it absolutely is. And they're also $40, which means that as soon as it looks a bit too nasty, you just throw it away and get another one. Or donate it or something like that, absolutely, or use it in another place. But I've done months and months and months with these, cleaning them regularly, but in the end the salt air gets to them. And then they ended up looking like the kettle, but the kettle obviously continues on because it's got characteristic. It's got an extra dent on the bottom, and the stove top did push down into the stove, and obviously we got a hole in the ceiling. But anyway, it's kind of an educational moment. Okay, so what are we doing today? We're going to get to the bit where we can go sailing. If I was to give like a high level kind of like idea for the next week, bearing in mind this is the beginning of a project now for me that I'm going to go to the Fastnet in England. So this boat needs to be ready to leave Nova Scotia about the 1st of June to make a very nice crossing of the Atlantic on time to go and do that race. And we've got loads of time to get the sails sorted out and everything else. But the way I'm going to see if I can get this all to happen is to get people to sponsor me for all the sailing that I'm doing and the YouTube stuff and everything else, and then they come on board as sponsors at the events for free. So that's a nice way of doing it. It includes everybody, and it means I'm not running a commercial charter business, which is a absolute nightmare and almost impossible now with the insurance situation the way it is. So let's keep sailing, let's keep moving forwards. What I've got to do is I've got to bring this boat back to life. Okay, we've messed around in here now, we've like learnt about gas, but the boat is, to me, like messy, okay? But if you've been on boats before, this is nothing, right? So let's look at what we've got and what we haven't got. We're going to need to get the hatch open, unlock it. Oh my lord. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. This is like ground zero. Look at the deck. Yeah. Oh, just before we worry about things, let's just look at how beautiful it is here. What's the mess on the deck? The boat's going to be called Osprey. Ospreys literally come and roost on the top of this mast. Look at the underside of the spreaders. That is all ospreys eating and shitting on this deck. You can get your plastic out, you can get your CDs and your tin foil and your bits of fishing line and all the rest of it, and your spiky balls up there. They don't give two fucks about any of that stuff. These are ospreys, right? It's like having a pet velociraptor. It's not going to happen. They're going to do what they're going to do, and we're going to deal with it. That's how that's going to go. How are we going to deal with it? Well, I haven't been here for a while, so that's the crap that's on there now. We pressure wash it off. But look, also, because I've just been caretaking this boat for 6 months, look, all this algae is underneath everything. It all has to come off. The wheel is at home. I'm going to respray the wheel, and let's put some rubber on the outside rather than these old ratty leathers, and then we'll take that wheel and do it. I want to paint those handles black as well. We definitely got a job we need to do on the gooseneck, but you know, other than that, there's not like loads of stuff. The hatches need, this one's been secured in, but it needs waterproofing. The others have got various leaks and what have you. So I think, and then the main engine, the batteries are flat. The main engine, if I get the when I get the main engine started, that's not, you know, that's not an if, that's a when I get the main engine started, the load that will go on the alternator will be spectacular. Now we can reduce that by disconnecting batteries and do all sorts of things. I'll take you through how that happens, but the better thing is to have them charged before that even happens. And we're dealing with a lot of cold in here at the moment, which I've got a solution for, but again, it's all power consumption. These solar cells are just sitting on the deck. This is a job, and what I'm doing here is I'm looking at what looks best. You know, drop it in the comments with any of this. You know how YouTube works, right? You write comments, even if it's just a thumbs up or whatever, just something, and then the algorithm, the computer goes like, oh, this must be interesting. So what happens on YouTube is that it doesn't advertise my videos. What it does is it provides good videos to you. So it's not pushing out my stuff, it's pulling stuff into you. So unless you interact with the system, it won't pull things in that you want. So if you want me to do more of this, then you have to do something. That means press subscribe, like or something, or comment, something like that, right? So whatever you think, I don't know, I want to put them here. I don't know, one seems to be missing and I'm not sure if I took it home. I've got a vague recollection of taking it home, but these are $100 on Amazon, these. So you know, we want to get some more, and we want to get this boat so that it's as energy efficient as possible, because that is a nightmare. That engine, that big engine, is 130 horsepower, and it drinks diesel. There's no generator on this boat, which brings me to what we're going to do now. Huh, you knew we'd get there in the end. It is a nice thought. Often when I do these videos, I think, oh, I should have said this and should have said that. But I say, I'm like beyond caring now. I'm just going to do what I want to do on YouTube so that people who know me and are interested can interact. So I'm going to talk. That's what I try and do. I've got this generator from home. Okay, now anybody who knows about this kind of equipment, who lives alongside them and has to bring them on and off trucks or whatever, will know that these things are bloody heavy. So bearing in mind that it came on last night and the engine doesn't run, how did it get on here? Well, it got here in Trevor. Trevor is a bit of a mess because he got left on the dock literally for the last 6 months of the year. Sorry, Trevor. Trevor has a little torpedo motor. Trevor's got a brilliant name, which comes from a brilliant place, which I'll tell you about. If you're interested in how Trevor got his name, put Trevor ? In the in the comments. But with that ring on it, that inflatable ring for the around the edge of that, what's it there? It is a Walker Bay, isn't it? It's a Walker Bay 8. They make an 8 and a 10. That's a Walker Bay 8. With that ring on it, I've had 500 pounds in that raft loads of times. This guy probably weighs 200 pounds, something like that. That was no big, it was more hassle to get it in the back of the Land Rover to bring it to the yacht club than it was to get it out here and onto the boat. I should use a halyard to pick it up. So I now need to connect the boat's shore supply. So I'm going to try and do here. Now, some people are saying, why are you using such a big generator? Because I've not got that many generators, like who does? And this is the one from the house. It does 220. This boat's got a 220 volt charger. I can't change that now, can I? The new charger is $2,500 for this boat. So I need to be able to plug into this. So we've got this guy here. Okay, so I think I've got an L14, but then the L5. So this is the same problem that you have to solve all the time when you travel a lot with boats, which you have a shore supply and then you have to connect in. I've worked on super yachts that use Atlas systems, which is where it'll change the polarity, it will change the earthing, it'll change the voltage, anything you need to do, any combination, it'll do it inside the box. You can just plug yourself in as long as you've got the right plug. But every big boat has a bag of components like this, right? So then you can make up the shore supply that you need. So I got to get, this is, God, it's been so long since I plugged this thing in. What have we even got here? Look, oh, that's kind of good. Okay. Watching an idiot trying to work out stuff like this is not good spectator sport, so come back in a second.